of x minus the equation of the line is equal to 0. Right. Limit as x approaches positive, negative, infinity. Okay. Of as x approaches positive or negative infinity of the function minus the line is equal to, step number 1, you replace f of x by its value. Limit x approaches positive, negative, infinity. The function is this: negative 2x cubed plus 3x squared plus 9x minus 11 over x squared minus 4 minus the equation of the line, so plus 2x minus 3, which is equal to limit as x approaches positive or negative infinity.
طب أستاذ ليه نشتغل بنحلها لل f of x؟
لا، I'm finding f of x minus this, مش limit of f of x.
okay.
It is not limit minus limit. You'll get, by the way, indeterminate form. If you find limit minus limit, limit of this minus limit of this, you'll get indeterminate form. Because here limit as x approaches infinity of this function will be infinity, and this line will be also infinity. At positive infinity here will be negative infinity, and here at positive infinity will be also negative infinity. Positive infinity minus infinity is indeterminate form. And if you find limit as x approaches negative infinity, this one will be positive infinity, and this one will be also positive infinity. Positive infinity minus positive infinity will be also indeterminate form. So what you have to do here is to simplify this expression, simplify it algebraic-wise. Okay? Simplify it, and then the answer, the simplified form, find its limit. Okay? So to simplify this expression, take common denominator. So over 1.
أستاذ ما فينا ناخد highest exponent نرجع نعمل same denominator نرجع نضرب يعني ب
لا هذا اللي عم لك عنه. You simplify and then you take the highest exponent. بتغير كتير شيء. لا. So here multiply by x squared minus 4, and of course by x squared minus 4 the denominator. Okay. And then you'll get limit as x approaches infinity of the same denominator x squared minus 4 negative 2x squared plus 3x squared plus 9x minus 11 positive 2x times x squared, so plus 2x power 3 positive 2x times negative 4, so minus 8x negative 3 times x squared, so minus 3x squared, and negative 3 times negative 4 plus 12, which is equal to limit x approaches positive or negative infinity. Simplify to x cubed. Negative 2x cubed plus 2x cubed 0. 3x squared minus 3x squared 0. 9x minus 8x. We get x. Negative 11 plus 12, so plus 1 over x squared minus 4. Now, in this simplified form, take the highest exponent. Behind, you can take the highest exponent. So you'll get limit x approaches positive negative infinity x over x squared, which is the limit of 1 over x simplify x by x squared, which is equal to 1 over infinity, which is equal to 0. Here we prove that limit as x approaches infinity of the function minus the line is equal to 0. So therefore, straight line D is an oblique asymptote at both positive infinity and negative infinity.
أستاذ يعني أنا ما فيني من أول ستيب آخذ ال highest exponent بالf x؟
لا أنا شفتهم. Some of you they consider the highest exponent. You get limit equal to 3, which is not true. Limit is equal to negative 3 by 2. They consider 2x cubed over x squared. You get negative 2x, so plus 2x they cancel out each other, and then you still have minus 3, so you put minus 3, which is not true. You simplify and then you take the highest exponent. Okay? If you are going to find limit as x approaches infinity of the function f of x, take the highest exponent. That is a rational function. For a rational function, we said for the rational function, take the highest exponent. Simplify and get this rational function. Here, take the highest exponent. Now, as you can see, according to your answers, you got negative 3. Some of you got negative 3. But well, the answer is 0. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions?
أستاذ
Yes.
لعبة نمبر 1 حطيت تيبل هون لا
بعد ما خلصت. Here the question is divided into 2 parts. The first part, prove that the line is an oblique asymptote. Here is the first part. We prove that the line is an oblique asymptote. Now for the second part of the question, study the relative positions between the line and the curve. Here I'm going to find the relative positions.
أستاذ
I'm just
أوبليك لأنه
لا
أوبليك لأنه equal 0
Because the limit of the function minus the line is equal to 0. Whenever you are asked to find or to prove that the line is an oblique asymptote, you have to do this step. The function minus the line.
أوكي
Okay? Good. Okay.
أستاذ
Yes?
من وين جبنا الماينس؟
Which minus, hey?
إيه
It's a rule.
اه
To prove that a straight line is an oblique asymptote, it means that you have to prove that the limit of f of x minus ax plus b is equal to 0 at positive or negative infinity, depends on the function. We am to answer your question you were asking yesterday, do I find limit as x approaches positive infinity or negative infinity? And I told you both will give you the same answer, because here we have a rational function. In case you have oblique asymptote, for a rational function, both limits will be equal, will be 0. Limit as x approaches positive infinity or negative infinity will be 0. You don't have to find each one separately. Look, here, limit as x approaches positive or negative infinity, it is 1 over x. Whether x goes to positive infinity or negative infinity, the answer is 0. Number over infinity. Positive infinity or negative infinity will be 0. The only difference here is the relative positions, not more. As x approaches positive infinity, the answer will be 0 plus, so it's above the line. Negative infinity, the limit will be 0 minus, so the curve will be below the line. You will see it now.
اوكي
Repeat again. According to the function, depends on the function. The type of function here we are studying is rational function. Rational functions, if we have oblique asymptote, at positive infinity and at negative infinity will be oblique. In case you have horizontal asymptote for a rational function, at positive infinity and at negative infinity will have the same horizontal asymptote. But other types of functions, we may have oblique asymptote at positive infinity, but we don't have oblique asymptote at negative infinity. You will see it in grade 12. It depends on the function itself. Are you done? May I erase? To answer the second
Great.
part of the question.
بس لحظة شوي أستاذ بس شوي بليز.
شو بك يا اختي الناطرين عابين يقرا، شو بدي اعمل له؟ شو بدي اعمل؟ سامع كل شيء، تخافيش انت، تعمل بشغلك.
Done?
إذا معلومة راحت بالخدامك هيك بالحكي يعطيك العافية.
اختي ها شو بدنا انت؟
Yes, Jad, did you finish writing?
ما تغسل وجهك بعدين.
Yes, yes, it's good.
Okay. Now the second part of the question, which is the relative positions between the curve and the line. The table, and this table, as I said, it's standard. Same steps. Note that here, the function, the domain of definition of this function, x is, since you are not given the domain, so you have to find it. X squared minus 4 different than 0. X squared minus 4 is different than 0. That means that x is different than positive negative. Okay?
استاذ القلم
Yes.
كثير فاتح، ما مبين شيء على اللوح.
Black. نفس القلم.
لا الكاتب فيه اف اكس.
The function. I wrote here the function only. What's written in the exercise.
اوكي
هو على فوق ها. هيك مش الحل ببين القلم. واضح هيك؟ ايه؟
ايه واضح.
لا يبقى مكتوب الازرق.
فكرت
واضح؟
بالنادي.
مشكلته برضه الاسود خطه منيح بس ما بيمشيش بسرعه. طيب anyways. So in order to find the relative positions of the line and the curve, what you have to do here is to study the sign of the function minus the line. يعني the sign of this, we already found it. Connect character إمام حيدر. YC minus YD, again, which is the function minus the line. Okay, I'm going to write it. That's f of x minus negative 2x plus a 3. Of course, you don't have to repeat the same steps by replacing the function by its value and then simplify, take common denominator and simplify. Of course, you don't have to repeat the same steps. Directly it is x plus 1, unless if you want to waste some time. Yeah. X plus 1 over x squared minus 4. Because we already did it. I put it equal to 0. Fraction equal to 0, it means the numerator is 0. So x plus 1 equal to 0, and so you get x equal negative 1. العطاء هون عم زابر شوي. كنت مستنظر حدا يقول لك شغلة. يلا بنخلص بعدين بنحكيها. X equal to negative 1. This point or this number you have to include it in the table.
أستاذ لما حطينا x squared minus 4.
I'm going to put it here. قصدك بهيدي when you put it equal to 0? ليش حطيت كمان x squared minus 4 equal to 0? When you use the cross product, over 1 cross product, x plus 1 times 1, it is x plus 1. 0 times x squared minus 4 equal to 0. So only x plus 1 equal to 0.
Okay.
In case you have a fraction, just one moment. In case you have a fraction a over b, this fraction equal to 0, that means only the numerator equal to 0. Using the cross product.
أستاذ أنا فهمت.
Now, values of x you have to include or yc minus yd here. And the values of x you are going to include, as I said, this number and the domain. Negative 2, negative 1, and 2. Here we have negative 2, shaded.
أستاذ
And the negative 2. Yes, negative 1 and 2.
مش لازم تكون does not equal minus 1.
لا، ليش does not equal to negative 1?
أستاذ شو هي y of c؟
The function y of the curve, c is the curve. Back to the question. Spanish way. Back to the question. They said here, okay, justify that, if you follow with me, justify that D is an oblique asymptote, you have the statement of the question, no? Justify that D is an oblique asymptote to the curve C, not point, it's curve C. The curve of the function f. Okay, y of the curve, which is f of x. Any point on the curve, the y value, it is f of x. Any point on the straight line, the y value, it is negative 2x plus 3. This is the y value of any point on the line. This is the y value of any point on the curve. Right? Then to say that any point on the curve of a function f has coordinates x, f of x. So the y value of any point on the curve is f of x. For the straight line, any point on the straight line, the y value of this point is this y value, negative 2x plus 3. You got the point?
ايه طيب اوكي بس من وين جبنا minus 2؟
Minus 2? Which minus 2? Hey?
حطيتها بالتيبل.
How? Negative 2 and 2?
ايه.
Yes. Domain of the function.
طيب أستاذ سؤال.
صح طلع.
لا.
عم بسمع.
ليه ما عم نحط مثلا بهيدي الاف اوف اكس ماينس هيدي ليه مثلا ما عم نحط الجواب تبع القبل؟ ليه ما بنحطها زيرو؟ ليه هيك عم نعملها؟ ليه عم نحط اكس بلس 1 على اكس سكويرد ماينس 1؟
Differentiate between two things. In the previous part, we are finding the limit of this. The limit is 0.
اوكي وهون.
The limit is equal to 0. And the limit is equal to the limit of x over x squared. But not the difference is equal to x over x squared. In the previous one, we found limit of this. And we said it's equal to limit of x over x squared, which is 1 over x, which is equal to 0. But this difference, f of x minus the line, was equal to x plus 1 over x squared minus 4. أكيد ما في أخذ x over x squared لأنه here I'm not finding the limit. I can't cancel out 1 with 4 unless you are finding limit. You take the highest exponent. So موضوع ثاني. Okay.
اوكي بس طب من وين جبنا الاكس بلس 1؟
حتى الفاينل انسر اللي كنا شغالينه قبل شوي هلا اللي اشتغلناه هلا قبل شوي كان طلع عندي هيدا the answer of this is x plus 1 over x squared minus 4.
اوكي.
قلت لكم you can repeat the same steps if you want to lose time or if you want to waste time repeat it. Use that real get x plus 1 over x squared minus 4. إذا عبالك it's okay. أنا ما عندي مشكلة.
لا فهمتها. Thank you.
أكيد رح يكون نفس الستبس. Replace, take common denominator, simplify, you'll get this.
Okay.
Okay? Right. Now, for the signs, do you still have any questions? Before I continue? Okay, no questions. Now, for the signs, we have 0 at x equal negative 1. Right. yc minus yd, yc minus yd is equal to 0 when x equal negative 1. Here it will be the point of intersection between the curve and the line. Now, for the signs here, for the signs, positive, negative, and so on, choose values of x. Let's say x equal to negative 3. If you choose x to be negative 3 here, any value, not close to negative 2, if you choose a number close to negative 2, it's also correct. But you may choose negative 3, negative 4, any number, and replace here in yc minus yd. Replace x by negative 3. Negative 3 plus 1, negative 2. Negative 3 squared 9, minus 4, 5. Negative 2 over 5, the answer is negative. From here, if x equal to negative 3, then negative 3 plus 1 over negative 3 squared minus 4 will be equal negative 2 over 5, which is a negative number, so you write negative only. Here between negative 2 and negative 1, take negative 1.5. Same idea, will be positive. Between negative 1 and 2, take 0, negative. Greater than 2, let's say 3. 3 plus 1 over 3 squared minus 4 will be positive. The same idea, the same way as I did here. Okay? Now, any questions about the signs? في حد عنده أي سؤال عن هو؟
ايه استاذ بس مش عن الساينز.
ايه شو؟
بس ليه حطيت 0 على الماينس 1؟
Because yc minus yd, read. yc minus yd is equal to 0 when x equal to negative 1. yc minus yd equal to 0 when x is equal to negative 1. So here I wrote when yc minus yd is equal to 0 when x is equal to negative 1.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. No.
الساينز
نعم.
ما فهمت كيف حطيت الساينز.
ايه بسيطة. شوف شو بتعمل. Number less than negative 2. You choose any number less than negative 2 مثل ما بدك على ذوقك. يعني إذا قلت لي negative 100 ما لي معك. Okay? Here I chose negative 3. Replace x by negative 3. That's why. Where do we replace x by negative 3? In this. Okay. Here we have yc minus yd. yc minus yd. So yc minus yd, yeah, this one. So you replace x by negative 3. So negative 3 plus 1. Negative 3 squared minus 4. Okay. Negative 3 plus 1 over negative 3 squared minus 4. The answer is negative 2 over 5. I just need the sign, it's negative. So here I wrote negative. That's for the, is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
The same idea for the remaining signs. Same way. Number between and replace. The easiest way. فيها شوية زعبر هلا رح احكي عنها شوي. كمان بعدني ناطر حدا يقول لي شغله. اوكي. هيك خلي بالكم شوي مشغول. شو بدي اقول؟ Now, for the relative positions, here yc minus yd is negative. So as we said, we put c is below d. C is below straight line D. Here C is above. This is above, okay? So
طب مش يعني عندنا intersection أو لا؟
بلا. I'm going to mention it. C is below D, and here C is above D. At this point, we have intersection. When I say yc minus yd is equal to 0, it means that y of c is equal to y of d. Y of c is equal to y of d. It means that this point, or point on the curve, point on the line, have the same abscissa and they have the same ordinate. Yeah, it is the point of intersection. So at this point, when x equal to 0, intersection point, yeah, x equal to -1. What is y? You replace. Y is equal to intersection point. I'm going to write it in details. At x equal -1, in this case, y will be equal to. You replace x by -1 in the function or in the straight line. You replace x by -1 in the function or in the straight line. It is a common point. Of course, you will get the same answer. It is a common point. Whether you replace x by -1 in the function or -1 in the equation of the line, you will get the same value because it's intersection point. Because this point belongs to the curve of the function, belongs to the line. So you may replace in any of these two. Of course, it's easier to simplify or to replace in the line, less calculations. So -2 times -1 plus a 3, which is equal to 5. So the point will be of coordinates -1, 5. Okay? I'll show you the graph of this function. Yeah, write it. And if you have any questions, please let me know in order to graph this function and show you the relative positions, what we did here, and to compare it graphically. And you will see the intersection point -1, 5. Any questions?
أستاذ coordinates بس تحت.
Coordinates. We said that this point, when x equal to -1, this point is a common point, right? It is a common point of intersection between the curve and the line. ليش هي point of intersection؟ أنت هنا بتحط yc minus yd equal to 0.
ده أنت طلعت
At x equal to -1. It means that y of c is equal to y of d. So the point which is on the curve and the point which is on the line, they have the same ordinate. And they have the same value of x, -1. It's a common point. So we have x equal to -1. To find the y value of this point, you replace in the function or in the line. Leave it here. Of course, you'll get the same answer. And that's the point. The point belongs on both, on the curve of the function and belongs to the straight line. Replace in any of them. I replaced in the equation of the line. All calculations شوي. -2 times -1 plus 3, which is 5. So the coordinates of this point will be -1, 5.
Okay, so
Are you done? Did they finish writing?
أستاذ بس فيك تعلي الكاميرا شوية من المعروف.
No. Yeah. Like in here.
It says thank you.
Did you finish writing? Are you done?
أستاذ
نعم.
إذا أنا حليت التيبل حل مثل ما قلنا حلة قديمة.
برافو عليك، هذا اللي الناطر حدا يقول لي عنه. هذا اللي قلت لك انا زعبرت شوي هون.
إيه
ناطر حدا هيك يعمل لينك بين المواضيع اللي نحن حلينهم من قبل، شو اللي تغير هون؟ يلا هلا بجاوب عنه.
ماشي.
Okay, just to show you the graph of this function and the asymptote, you compare it with this table. Okay. Can you see the graph here? Y equal negative 2x plus 3, here I wrote the function and the line y equal negative 2x plus 3. By the way, we have two vertical asymptotes, which are negative 2 and positive 2. Here we have negative 2 and here we have x equal positive 2. As you can see, this line is an asymptote, oblique asymptote. At negative infinity, look at the graph, it is very close to the line. And at positive infinity, when x goes to positive infinity, again, the line is very close to the curve, or the curve seems to be the line itself. Now, the relative positions, according to the table we have, between negative infinity and negative 2, the curve is below the line. When x between negative infinity till negative 2, the curve is below the line. As you can see here, here is the curve. لكوين هيدا اللاين نغير له اللون بس يصير أوضح بالنسبة لكم شو بعرفون. Okay. This curve here, this curve, the green one, is below this asymptote. When x is between negative infinity and negative 2, here is the curve. The curve is under the line. Right. The second part, follow with me on the table. Between negative 2 and negative 1, the curve is above the line. From negative 2, x between negative 2 and negative 1, look at this part. The curve, the green one, is above the line. The intersection is negative 1, negative 1, 5. That's point A is negative 1, 5. Here is the intersection, as you can see, between the curve, the green one, the curve of the function f, and this oblique asymptote. Here is the intersection. Later on, when you are asked to graph the function, you need this. You need it. At the relative positions, you have to use the relative positions in order to graph the function. Or the graph of the function must satisfy what you wrote in the table and the relative positions between the curve and the line. Okay? Right. And then, between negative 1 and 2, according to our table, between negative 1 and 2, the curve is below. Between x equal negative 1 and 2, as you can see here, the graph, the green one, is under the line. And the last part, when x is between 2 and infinity, the curve is above the line. Between 2 and infinity, x equal to till infinity, as you can see here, the curve, the green one, is above the line. Okay? Clear?
استاذ اللاين يعني هذا الرد شو اسمه؟
Hey, هذا الأوبليك asymptote y equal negative 2x plus 3. Negative 2x plus 3. The oblique asymptote, the given one. Okay? Is that clear? Back to this table. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? No questions. Perfect. And all of you. What I did here to find the signs or to determine the signs, I chose numbers. Okay, we are going to accept it. But in fact, to find or to determine the signs, positive, negative, using the formal way, you apply what we studied in chapter 1 or chapter 2, signs of quadratic expressions. You apply what we studied in chapter 2, signs of quadratic expressions or signs of rational expressions. Here we have linear over quadratic. So in order to determine the sign, you do the following. Like x squared minus 4, the roots positive negative 2, and x plus 1, the root is negative 1. So if you are going to find the sign or to determine the sign of this rational expression, we are going to use similar table. We have x plus 1, x squared minus 4, and then the ratio x plus 1 over x squared minus 4, which is yc minus 1. Values of x from negative infinity to positive infinity. We have negative 2, shaded because the denominator cannot be 0. We have negative 1, and we have 2, also shaded because x cannot be equal to 2 in the denominator. Now x plus 1 it is 0, the root negative 1, at x equal negative 1. The coefficient of x is 1, positive. So before the root negative, after the root is positive, because it's linear. Now x squared minus 4, the roots negative 2 and 2, it is quadratic. The coefficient of x squared is positive, so positive outside the roots, negative between the roots. Now the ratio, negative, positive, 0, negative, positive. هذا اللي طلع معنا نحن قبل شوي. This is yc minus yd, x plus 1 over x squared minus 4. يلا mathematically اللي أنا شو بفضل as a math teacher, I prefer this. But we used to accept the previous one, and choose a number, determine the sign. Okay. عم يقبلوه.
يعني
as a math teacher, mathematically أنا شو بفضل هيدا. هيدا الأصح. يعني هلا بترجع لكل واحد منكم. هلا هديك بيجي بيقول لك واحد ما هديك اسهل، بحط نمبر وبعمل ريبليس وخلصنا. واحد خي معوض هو بيقول لك لا خي هذه اريح لي شو بضيع وقتي بكالكوليشنز ونمبرز وات ايفر، لا خي هي اريح لي. بس انا عم بقول لك از ماث تيتشر انا شو بفضل هاي. بغض النظر هي اسهل هي اريح هي كذا. بس لما عم ينقبل هودي خلص بنعلمكم اياه، وهذيك يمكن عند البعض مريحه اكثر replaced by numbers. Whether you wrote this or that, both are excellent. Okay? هذا اللي كنت أقول لك ناطر حدا يسألني شيء. هذا بس السؤال. Okay. Any questions? Do you have any questions? Yes? No questions? Right? Good. Now let's have one more example, one more exercise. Outside, or not written in the worksheet. كله outside. بس للي بعده هيك حاسس حاله مشنج وبعده غريبين وكذا. Yeah. Let's say part 3. Yeah. It's not written in the worksheet. Okay. حتى ما حدا يستغرب يستاذ وين part 3 مش موجود كيف؟ Let's say f of x is equal to negative x cubed plus 2x squared plus 2 over x squared plus 1, and you have to prove that straight line d of equation y is equal to negative x plus 2 is an oblique asymptote. Same questions, and also study the relative position between the curve and the line. Yeah, I'll give you only 5 minutes to answer this question. please كل واحد عنده على دفتره يجرب يحل. عبد الرحمن.
نعم يا أستاذ.
صباح الخير.
صباح النور.
استنى.
ما كان عندي نت يا أستاذ.
يلا بسيط. ماشي. في حدا بيعرف شيء عن اليسار؟ ليش بالعادة تغيب؟ يلا. خالد.
ايه استاذ.
شو الوضع معك؟
بشو؟
الوضع المعيشي والاقتصادي.
لا قصدك بالماث يعني كل شيء؟
هودي اسهل شيء استاذ. هودي فينا نتفاهم، فينا نوصل لنتيجة، هوديك شو بعرفني. لا بالماء بهاو تحديدا بهاو
يعني احلى من هنديك.
نعم
احلى من هنديك.
احلى من هوديك. ماشي طيب. Are you solving this? No.
انا
اعمل لك ايه هلا
بس هلا استاذ ولا بدي حلها
هلا حامل قلم وورقه وعم بتجرب تحلها ولا ناطر هيك
لا.
بس انت محل. شو طلبت منكم؟
نحل.
ايه لا تفضل.
يلا
كان لازم احكيك انا بالويكند ونسيت. هلا برجع بحكي معك. كارم.
نعم أستاذ.
ينعم عليك. شو الوضع؟
منيح عادي.
مش عم بسمع أسئلتك ولا شيء. شو؟
هلا عم تسمعني؟
أنا عم بسمعك إيه.
ما أنت
إيه. كيف ماشي بالمد؟
منيح بس هلا هول آخر شيء. نعم.
إيه.
هودي
شو بقى؟
كلهم فهمون بس هلا
إيه.
هودي شوي ما بعرف كيف.
طيب
شوي معقدين.
معقدين. كل واحد عنده رأي. طيب بتجرب تحل هيدا هلا؟
ايه عم جرب.
وين وصلت؟
لا عم جرب، أنا بدي جرب
بدك تجرب.
لأنه بعدني مش عارف أبلش فيها.
نعم؟
امبارح بالهوم ورك ساعدوني شوي فيها، بس ما عم بعرف يعني كيف بلش فيها لحتى أعمل التيبل.
قبل التيبل في الليمت. لا ليش ما بتخبرني كارم؟ برجع بعيد للكل.
ما عم شوفها كيف عم بتحلها بعدين.
واحد مش فهماني يخبرني، ما يخبي لي اياها بجعته. مش يجمع لي اياهم، اسالوه. اذا مش فهماني يا كارم قل لي، بيتراكم.
لا ما كنت ناطرك تشوف كيف تحلها، بعدين إذا ما فهمتها برجع بقول لك.
طيب البارت اللي حليناه قبل شوي فهمته؟ مش الحل؟
ايه فهمت.
طيب please try to solve this. تتأكد من حالك، أنا مش إنه أنا الفكر إنه يا أستاذ يعني يزرقني بالزاوية يعني. لا بس تتأكد من حالك إذا فهمت ولا لا. كيف solve this؟ وهن سمير يعني. Yeah.
أستاذ بس سؤال.
نعم.
minus x plus 2 times x square plus 1.
ايه
تطلع minus x cube plus 2x square minus x plus 2.
مظبوط، بس we have minus outside ها بيذكر.
يعني كله minus.
مظبوط. So minus what you said.
يعني minus 2x square.
So minus. خالد؟
ايه استاذ.
Yeah. Can we start?
ايه بس خليني بعد جرب فيها شوي، هلا بعد ما جبت الورقة والقلم.
طيب يلا. I'll give you one more minute.
Yeah.
It's correct. Continue, Liam. Find the limit of this.
استاذ عم تعيط لي شيء ولا لا؟
لا للين بندقجي لانه بعطيت لي السوليوشن.
اوكي.
أستاذ أنا هاي أول دفعة بعثت لك إياها.
أول دفعة بالتقسيط.
إيه بدي أكملها.
إيه. شوي مغبشة.